The baby-eating scene from It. Now, most of the deleted scenes from 2017's It are currently available due to the DVD extras. However, one scene was never shown, due to its shocking nature. Shocking even for an R-rated film. It's a flashback that takes place right after the Losers Club's first fight with Pennywise. In fact, both take place at the same location, the Neibolt house. Taking place in 1637, it begins with a young mother named Abigail rushing into her house in the middle of the night. An unnatural force causes the room's chandelier lights to rotate, with a black silhouette forming. This is revealed to be It, who first appears as a skinny, naked, pale, and inhuman figure. He rapidly transforms into other beings, and boasts to Abigail that he isn't the devil, but the Eater of Worlds. He senses the fear in Abigail's baby and grows hungry each time it cries. Abigail offers herself to It instead to spare her child, but this doesn't work. It then makes a sadistic offer. If he takes the baby, he'll spare her and her 6-year-old son. She accepts and tearfully kisses her baby before turning him away. It slowly crawls towards the baby as he hears its cries once more until a sickening crunch noise is heard. Abigail then sees the flickering fire of the lights, which are actually It's dead lights. This scene was confirmed by a 2019 interview Cinepop did with its director, Andy Muschietti. He teased it being released with a director's cut of both films together, but that never ended up happening. The only material we have from this scene is a screenshot of Bill Skarsgård's painted red, when It briefly transforms into the devil. Agartha. This survival horror game was supposed to come out the late 1990s as part of the Sega Dreamcast. The plot goes as follows. During the winter of 1929, in a Romanian village that was partially destroyed by a landslide that occurred during a mysterious earthquake, a subterranean city exists called Agartha. This is where evil is being kept prisoner and is desperate to escape. Kirk, the human hero, will encounter a series of characters from villages, the living dead, fanatics from the evil sect, monsters, demons, soldier monks, priests, archangels, and the sentient who is the ultimate personification of evil. As Kirk, you can decide to save as many innocent people as possible or to trigger the arrival of chaos on Earth. As Kirk's morals waver between good and evil, this ambiguity changes the aims of the adventure and the narration of the story. The game was developed by No Cliché, a French company that was bought out by Sega in 1997. Agartha was first mentioned in September 1998, with a set release window about a year later. This never happened, though it was presented to the industry at the Electronic Computer Trade Show 2000. This is also where that plot summary came from, along with some screenshots. The game was officially cancelled in January 2001, when Sega announced that no more Dreamcast consoles would be made. Despite Agartha being well into production, it was not nearly completed, so it missed that deadline. It wouldn't be until 2008 that some new insight was given, as the site Unseen64 began talking about it. Several developers commented on these posts, giving some new insight. Unseen64 even showed a 15-minute clip showing early gameplay footage. In 2018, the game's 2002 E3 gameplay demo was dumped online after being found on an eBay auction, and the most recent update came from 2020, when one of Agartha's developers shared a level design drawing he made for it. Amanita Pestilens. This 1963 psychological horror film was actually Canada's first color film, along with being the country's first film to be shot in both French and English with the same cast. It was directed by René Bonnier and cost $275,000 Canadian back in 1960s money. The plot centers around a Montreal suburban man who takes great pride in his lawn, a lawn he has won awards for. It soon gets infected by the fictional fungus species Amanita Pestilens, which his neighbor identifies. The two get heated at each other over this, leading to a nearly deadly confrontation. We don't know much else about the film's story, especially the ending. The film was a commercial failure and never got a home release, though it did get screened at the Berlin International Film Festival years later. It also aired on both West and East German television, with it last being seen on the Movie Picks channel on May 10th, 1998. Besides some screenshots we have from Amanita Pestilens, it's completely lost. Corpse Party New Chapter. This missing game was a remake of the 1996 game Corpse Party, which is exclusively available to the Japanese platform NEC PC 9801. This version, however, was meant for mobile devices and would be released in multiple chapters. Though New Chapter was developed by the same studio as the original, Team Grizzly, the premise of both games is that a group of students are telling each other scary stories after a cultural festival at their school. They are then transported to an abandoned haunted school by Shinozaki, the spirit of a dead girl. Now they must all find a way to escape this haunted location before it's too late. The remake mainly just added new characters and chapters, along with better graphics since it came out a decade later. The first 4 chapters were released sporadically over the course of a year, with Chapter 1 releasing on October 3, 2006, Chapter 2 on December 12, 2006, Chapter 3 on April 12, 2007, and Chapter 4 on December 26, 2007. However, the 5th and final chapter was never released. The game also never updated itself past 2007, and it was discontinued in favor of the enhanced PC port Corpse Party Blood Covered, released in March 2008. Despite it being lost, we do of course have screenshots and bits of gameplay footage, along with New Chapter's soundtrack. The Monkey's Paw, 1933 version. You're all familiar with the story of the monkey's paw, right? A couple buys a mummified monkey's paw, which has the ability to grant 3 wishes. However, each wish has a horrible consequence to it, resulting in the death of their son and him coming back to life as a zombie. The original story was released by English author W. W. Jacobs in 1902, with various film adaptations being made in the years following. One of these was the 1933 version, released by RKO Radio Pictures and directed by Wesley Ruggles. It has been lost for almost a century, though various frames of the film were posted to the website nitratevile.com in 2016. The English version isn't even confirmed to exist, though must have since it was made in America. The most notable part about this film is that someone left an IMDb review of it back in December 2000. This person, named Dick42, claimed to have seen it in theaters when he was 9 years old, making him in his mid-70s when he wrote this. He gave it a 9 out of 10 and described the film's plot in more detail, and he ended it off by wishing a print was readily available. Two-hour original cut of Child's Play. Over 25 minutes of footage was cut from 1988's Child's Play due to negative reactions from test screenings. This led to Chucky's screen presence being greatly reduced, and his voice actor even changing. Originally he was voiced by Jessica Walter, though was replaced with veteran voice actor Bran Dourif. This was due to the director, Tom Holland, not liking Jessica's performance due to it not being as humorous. And even before that, he wanted the Chucky voice to be completely robotic. Of the deleted scenes, the most interesting is the original opening sequence. Detective Norris is seen in woman's clothing in order to spy on Charles Lee Ray. This then leads to the chase scene we see in the original film. There's also a scene of Andy talking to Chucky in his room, where he discusses his father's death. A scene of Dr. Death performing a voodoo ritual on a mother and her baby. A scene of Andy's psychiatrist, Dr. Ardmore, trying to convince the boy that Chucky's not alive. And the final fight was different, with Andy taping a knife to his RC car and stabbing Chucky with it. Andy then squirts Drano at Chucky with a water squirter, causing the doll's face and leg to partially melt off. Chucky then tries choking out Andy with a slinky toy, before Jack knocks his head off with a baseball bat. It bites an officer in the leg, with Karen then shooting the doll in the heart. After all of that, the officers collect Chucky's remains and tell them it was never alive, before offering them all a drink. All of these scenes that were mentioned have never been found, and there were even rumors that Tom accidentally destroyed the original work print. This seems to be false, and the film's writer, Don Mancini, even stated that it's in a vault somewhere. Silent Hills. This game was supposed to be a new installment to the Silent Hill franchise, and it had loads of hype surrounding it due to a brilliant marketing decision. In August 2014, Kojima released PT to the PlayStation Store, with the title being an acronym for a playable trailer. In it, you play as an unknown protagonist in first person, unusual for the Silent Hill series. You wake up in a strange house, traversing its rooms before encountering Lisa, the ghost of a pregnant woman, whose baby you find in the sink. After completing the game, you wake up at Silent Hill, with the new installment's title popping up. Many YouTubers played this game, spreading even more hype for Silent Hills.
Oh, fuck me! Oh, God, get away! No, you're gross!
Though it was never released, mainly due to some behind-the-scenes drama involving Hideo Kojima and Konami. He was laid off, and not much else has been heard of the game past late 2015. Film director Guillermo del Toro, who worked on Silent Hills, released a video about its development in September 2014. He mentions that the version of PT that was released is radically different from the demo. Speaking of the demo, it was removed from the PlayStation Network on April 29, 2015, making it unplayable. Though multiple fans have made attempts to remake the game, which always gets taken down by Konami. The Wizard. This 1927 silent film was based on the 1911 book Be La Lou, written by Gaston Leroux. It was produced by the Fox Film Corporation, not to be confused with 20th Century Fox. Now, we aren't 100% sure what the film's plot is, but a summary has been compiled by various picture journals. The Wizard is about a professor named Paul Coriolis, who creates an ape-like creature named Ba-La-U to exact revenge. His son was wrongfully convicted of murder, so he lures various people to his house for the creature to kill them. Ba-La-U himself was made by grafting a friend's face, which is a pretty creepy concept. Due to an increase in murders, Detective Murphy and news reporter Stanley Gordon decide to team up to solve the case, where they end up saving the lives of the judge and his daughter. Both Paul and Ba-La-U end up being killed by the film's conclusion. Like many lost silent films, its only known copy was destroyed in a vault fire, which occurred in 1931. The original book would later be adapted again in 1942's Dr. Reynolds' Secret, which is available to watch. Deleted scenes from Grizzly. Grizzly is a 1976 horror thriller movie directed by William Girdler. Many compare it to Jaws, which came out the year before, leading to most pointing it out as a ripoff of it. It of course has many deleted scenes, some of which are just extended shots from scenes that made it in. Others were cut to save time, in order to make the film under 90 minutes. One scene shows the hunters mistakenly killing a black bear instead of the main grizzly, which was removed to not cause confusion. In another scene that made it in, a black bear wanders into the camp, to which the characters stupidly mistake it for the grizzly's cub. There is reportedly another cut scene showing another one of the grizzly's attacks, which takes place by a waterfall. The final full scene to mention shows the ranger talking with the character Walter Corwin about whether or not they should shut down the lodge. There's also a special monologue, only seen in the Japanese exclusive Laserdisc release, which discussed how common bear attacks were. Pinoy Thriller. This 1980s Filipino show aired on the channel IBC 13 and was reportedly beloved by many in the country. Each episode would explore different Filipino mythical creatures, with some being on the Tikbalangs, the Capris, the Mangkuka Lam, and much more. The series even had a chant associated with it, sung by a female child, with echoing effects and chorus of restless souls. I'd read it out, but I have a hard time pronouncing it like I do with a lot of these names. Despite its popularity, Pinoy Thriller is completely lost, unless you count a 2-second snippet and some screenshots. The YouTube channel, Yesterday When I Was Young, or YWIWY, made a recreation of the intro and posted it on August 27, 2020. Kansas City Blender Massacre. This short film was created by the one and only Todd Sheets, who has created loads of other horror content, so much in fact that his IMDb lists over 50 he's directed and written. Titles include Bimbos BC, Goblin, Biker Babes from Beyond the Grave, Bone Hill Road, and the Grindsploitation series. Much of this work has been released on limited edition Blu-rays, though has failed to release others like Kansas City Blender Massacre. Todd released it in 1986 during the early days of his career, with the main source of information on it being a IMDb page. The plot seemingly centers around a serial killer who uses a blender on his victims. Its only other reference comes from my 2021 Facebook post, when the podcast No Budget Nightmares discussed another Todd Sheets film, Chainsaw Tales. Todd was tagged in the post, to which he replied with the following: "Chainsaw Tales was made, but so far has been lost forever. We did a few copies and it was rented in local video stores. This was pre-Zombie Rampage. As for that horrendous Blender Massacre, same deal. Some of the footage from it did end up in one cut of Zombie Rampage known as The Undead." Stygian. What's so interesting about this low-budget short film is that it was directed by the one and only James Wan. You know, the guy who created such horror films as The Conjuring, Saw, and Insidious, along with producing loads of others. Stygian was James' formal debut as a director and writer, with it being produced by Hybrid Films in the year 2000. It follows a young couple, Jamie and Melinda, who come into possession of a powerful talisman. It traps them in a different realm, a sort of purgatory for deceased villains that are referred to as exile. Jamie must now find Melinda in this strange new world, while the two of them are hunted by the evil Reaper brothers, who are after the talisman. It's known that Leigh Whannell, who played Adam in Saw, plays a creepy-looking clown, presumably one of the deceased villains. When Stygian was released, James showed it off at the Melbourne Underground Film Festival. It has since remained unseen, despite many fans begging to see it. It was alleged that co-director Shannon Young had a copy of the short film in her personal archives, but had no intentions of releasing it. Deleted scenes from Freaks. Freaks is a 1932 horror film directed by Todd Browning. You most likely know him for directing 1931's Dracula and the lost 1927 film London After Midnight, which some of you may have heard of. For its time, Freaks was incredibly controversial, facing loads of backlash even after the final product was released. It's about two circus performers, a trapeze artist named Cleopatra and a strongman named Hercules, who conspire to kill a fellow performer to gain their inheritance. However, they are eventually thwarted by the other circus performers, or as the film refers to them as, the Freaks. These include a bearded woman, a legless man, Siamese twins, the human skeleton, those with microcephaly, and various others. They all confront the two schemers in a thunderstorm, where they are mutilated and made into freaks themselves. Much of the film's content was cut due to the negative test screening reactions. Some felt ill and fainted, with one woman even claiming the film gave her a miscarriage. She threatened to sue MGM, the film's distributor, but that went nowhere. Half an hour of the film was cut due to its disturbing nature, with much of the climax being altered. The part where Cleo is chased by the freaks is shortened, and Hercules being castrated and becoming a castrata was entirely removed. Contrasting how dark that all is, other more comedic scenes were removed too. Others cut down on certain character relations, like that of Hercules and the character Venus. All of these cuts turned the film from a 90-minute picture to a 60-minute one. Remothered. This unfinished game was supposed to be a remake of the 1995 point-and-click title Clock Tower, which was released back in 1995, though this time it was being handled by Mansion Soft instead of Human Entertainment. It would have followed nearly the same plot as the original, with the main difference being the addition of new characters and Jennifer Simpson's name being changed to Jennifer Sutton. The plot of Clock Tower follows Jennifer and a bunch of other girls being adopted to the Barrows family. All seems well until one of the girls is killed by a stalker, someone known as the Scissor Man. Now Jennifer has to find a way to escape her new home while avoiding the Scissor Man. Clock Tower had multiple endings, something Remothered would have also had to have. The game started development in 2007, with its original release year being 2011. Starting in 2009, the game went through loads of changes, turning it from a direct remake to possibly something else. By 2012, the project was cancelled, along with a possible sequel. Despite its cancellation, the project would be relaunched in 2016 under a different name. This became the 2018 game Remothered Tormented Fathers, which instead of being a remake to Clock Tower was more of a homage to it. Despite the original Remothered never coming out, some screenshots and gameplay footage has been leaked. Tales of Mystery. Similar to Pinoy Thriller, this was an old horror anthology series, this time from Britain. These are based on various short stories from author Agartha Blackwood, who had passed away a decade prior to the series airing in 1961. So for the show, he was portrayed by John Laurie, who was known for other BBC shows. 3 seasons were released in total, with 8 episodes airing in 1961, 11 in 1962, and 10 in 1963. 29 episodes overall. None of these have resurfaced, and it's doubted if they will ever be seen, again due to age. Besides knowing the names to all the episodes, the only other source we have for it is an advertisement for it. It's promoting the second episode titled The Promise, which lists the cast and a few others involved, though the plot for the episode is not listed, just a vague description. There's also this image of John Laurie as Algernon. On the Lost Media Wiki, this user vaguely hinted at an episode possibly being found, but I couldn't find anything. This was posted back in March, so who knows. Voodoo Heartbeat. Also known by the title The Sex Serum of Dr. Blake, this 1963 movie was an exploitation film directed by Charles Nazette. Ray Molina produced it and even played Dr. Blake himself. Said character is the villain of the film. He uses an experimental youth serum to make himself younger. Instead, he turns himself into a fanged beast out for blood. The film was seemingly released in 1975, but was never seen after that. One of the only things we do know is that the president of TWI International, Robert Saxton, said that this film would be the breakout role for an up-and-coming actor, Mike Zapata. This never ended up happening, and Voodoo Heartbeat became Mike's only role. During the early 2010s, many forum posts were made to discuss the film, which of course revealed more information. Many claimed that the film featured loads of nudity, and that it was basically softcore porn. A trailer is widely available online, along with 2 minutes of footage that has since gone missing due to YouTube taking it down. Though luckily, on September 22, 2023, the company Vinegar Syndrome announced an official release as part of their Vinegar Syndrome's Lost Picture Show Blu-ray box set. This will include Voodoo Heartbeat and 9 other thought-to-be lost films, which is set to release next month. This is actually announced while I was writing the script, so it's cool to see at least one of these entries being found so soon.
A wise man once said that 90% of silent films are lost forever, but what if the last half-century? Found in archives and film collections around the world, not 1, not 2, but 10 freshly discovered lost films. They're the bee's knees from the post-1960s. It's the Lost Picture Show box set from your favorite guys and gals at Vinegar Syndrome.
The Vampira Show. Being hosted by Vampira herself, Malia Nurma, this series only lasted a year, from April 30th, 1954 to April 2nd, 1955. Despite only airing in Los Angeles on KABC TV, it was pretty successful, making Vampira a household name. Malia would soon appear on various Hollywood movies, including the infamous Plan 9 from Outer Space. The Vampira Show had a total of 50 episodes, with none resurfacing. What we do have is a KABC promo, featuring recut shots from an episode. The show would mainly just air other horror content, including films. She mainly segmented them, while talking with various off-screen ghosts. The intro had her slowly walking towards the camera, with fog surrounding her from all sides. It is rumored that parts of the show may still exist, though other rumors claim copies were destroyed at some sort of court case. It's super surprising to me that this staple of 1950s television is just gone, nowhere to be found besides some random commercials for it. Hotel 626 and Asylum 626. Both these were online horror games created by the fictional studio Snack Strong Studios, which was really just the chip brand Doritos. Both games are part of a Halloween marketing stunt to bring back two of their dead flavors, Black Pepper Jack and Jack and Smokin' Cheddar Barbecue. What's super unique about both titles is that you can only play them between the hours of 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., which is what the numbers in the titles refer to, though this cool feature could be changed by simply altering the clock on your computer. Hotel 626 was released on October 31, 2008, and has you trying to traverse a haunted hotel. You must avoid various hostile enemies, solve puzzles to escape certain rooms, and browse through photos you find. The coolest feature is that if you enter your phone number into the game as you complete it, you'll get a random phone call in the middle of the night, telling you that you'll never escape the hotel. This game was received incredibly well, leading to Doritos wanting a sequel to be made. Asylum 626 came out October 31, 2009, and is a bit different in terms of gameplay. Here you play an insane asylum patient who is being operated on. You then must escape, as a mysterious murderer is coming after you using a chainsaw. This game was also received very well, but they were never meant to last. Both the websites were taken down sometime around December 2011, and never seen again. You can view the pages via the Internet Wayback Machine, but the games are unplayable. All we have now from both these games are the YouTube playthroughs. The Dream Woman. This obscure short film was released in 1914 and was co-written by Wilkie Collins, who wrote the novel it was based on. Due to it being almost 110 years old, it's pretty obvious why this film has never surfaced in modern day. It's about a man named Francis, who faces a bizarre series of dreams, all of which involve a young woman stabbing him with a knife, killing him. Each time it happens, it gets more and more realistic. Her apparition soon starts appearing in real life, with those around him believing he's crazy. Francis soon snaps out of it and moves on with his life. He eventually gets married to a girl named Alice. This marriage ends in disaster, as Alice has a tendency to get drunk. She threatens to kill Francis with the knife from his old dreams. He survives this encounter, but years later she finds him again and kills him. The short film ends with Francis finding himself in the spirit world. The Dream Woman was partially remade along with other lost films of the era in the 2015 movie The Forbidden Room, though it's in a much different style. Something in the Basement. This topic gets really dark, to the point that I don't think the Lost Media Wiki wants it discussed. I mean, the page for it is completely empty now. Something in the Basement is a 1986 30 to 40 minute short film directed by the infamous Victor Salva, who you may know for directing Jeepers Creepers, Rosewood Lane, and Clown House. In fact, the star of Clown House, Nathan Forrest Winters, also starred in this film. It's about a young boy waiting for his big brother to return home from war, who soon finds a monster in his basement. Said monster tells the boy that his brother is actually dead. The film was shown off at various film festivals, where it got loads of acclaim. One of those who praised it was Francis Ford Coppola, who offered to produce Salva's next film, Clown House. If you know anything about Salva, you'll know that he was arrested and convicted of various sex crimes in 1988. He had molested and sexually abused Nathan, who was 12 at the time. He also videotaped the entire thing, which Nathan stole and reported to the police. The most shocking part was that Victor Salva only served 15 months in prison, and he completed parole by 1992. What the actual fuck? And to this day, he still has a successful career. His latest film was Jeepers Creepers 3 in 2017. Something in the Basement will likely never get released, as Nathan and his family are most likely keeping it from circulation. They did the same with the 2003 DVD release of Clown House, which only had a few copies ever made.